Well, we're back on Career Lab, and it's been a wonderful show so far, Julie. And now we're very fortunate to have another special guest, Mr. Scott Hamilton. And Julie, I know you know Scott better than I do, although we both know him. Why don't you go ahead and introduce Scott, and then we'll bring him in.
Sure. This is a treat for everybody listening today, and Joel, also for you and I. Scott Hamilton and I, and actually you too, Joel, met well over a decade ago in a professional organization called Professional Coaches and Mentors Association. We were based in Orange County, and we all came together as a group of 40 or 50 professionals doing some level of executive coaching, and everybody had a little bit of a different angle. It was a wonderful group with a great social dynamic and a great professional chemistry across the board, and a lot of wonderful collaborations came out of that organization, including mine with you, Joel, and Scott, mine with you. So Scott Hamilton, after the PCMA organization nationally dissolved during the recession, moved on to create his own professional organization, Executive Next Practices, or ENP. And Scott has been a force in Orange County for creating meaningful networking between meaningful groups. And I'm not talking just, one financial manager to another financial manager. That is meaningful. But what Scott has really been able to build is a true innovation ecosystem, partnering with UC Irvine, which is one of our nation's most prestigious research institutions. He has finagled his way or earned his way onto campus. And I have attended several of his events at the UC Irvine Beall Center for Innovation. Without too much more introduction, I'm going to let Scott give us a broad overview of kind of what your professional background was and what was your thought process going into creating ENP. Tell us a little bit about where it is now. And then what I'd like to end our conversation on is just touching on the bridge that you and I are beginning to think about creating between two completely different geographic regions, where we can really expand on the work that you've done in one region and use it to stimulate innovation in an under-innovating region. That's my goal. So Scott, I have a ton of respect for you, and I've always been a professional fan from afar. So I just want to thank you for being on the show, and take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. Right back at you. It's been great working with you. And of course, you've been great about attending our sessions over the years. ENP, Executive Next Practice, was formed actually in 2003. And it was formed by a group of innovators, investors, corporate executives, and community leaders, because there was a gap in pulling together all the different members of the innovation community to really focus on what's coming next. And so, we created this organization, and we were invited in to UCI. They actually found us and invited us to partner with them 9 years ago. So we're based at, as you mentioned, the University of California, Irvine, something called Beall Applied Innovation. It's an entire incubator where we have 55 startups, the financial resources, the technical resources, the academia, and community leaders right here in one spot. And the parallel in Phoenix, there are several of them, but one that comes to mind is SkySong at ASU. Similar type concept where the corporations are involved and they have the incubator there.
Yes.
There are a couple in Phoenix, not beyond just SkySong. So my background is corporate leadership with organizations like Nestle, Aramark, DirecTV, Bergen Brunswick, and a few others, even the Federal Reserve, where I held roles of strategic planning, marketing, organization effectiveness. So after departing my last corporate gig, which was DirecTV, instead of moving on to the next corporation, again, based on the need in the community, we decided to form this Executive Next Practice. Now, so there's two entities, Joel, as you saw. One is the ENP, which is the public forums we've been doing since 2003, over 500 of them. And then the private side is called Next Work Strategy, which is designed to help primarily small to mid cap, even large caps, reach re-strategize and develop a stronger value proposition. So we do a lot of strategic retreats, offsites, leadership development sessions with organizations. And so we're right in the middle of that. This fall is traditionally the time where you do strategic planning. So we're doing a lot of those offsite retreats right now.
I noticed that your next one is Executive Mixed Practices Healthcare, and you're doing that in November. So that sounds like a very interesting program. Want to comment on that, Scott, and tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up, Joel. This is our 11th annual Next Practices in Healthcare. It's hard to believe it's been the 11th annual, but we're partnering with the American College of Healthcare Executives, which is a 45,000 member organization comprised of all healthcare executives and leaders. And then also locally, Octane, which is a big life science incubator,
Yes.
and also University Lab Partners, which is located right here with us here at UCI. It's a wet lab. So the Next Practices in Healthcare, which is the evening of November 9th. So this is easy for people coming in from anywhere. In fact, we do have people coming from Phoenix and the Bay Area. It's an evening event, 5 to 9. We brought in a team that is really focused on metaverse applications in healthcare. Now, this is not the Facebook Meta. It's similar. Right. It's AR, VR application, but it's really focused on precision medicine, the immersive experience in healthcare, and just some really, we're calling it Next Practices Metaverse 2025, but it's really going to take 2 to 3 years to really explore and realize the tremendous potential of this.
Well, healthcare, is a segment that Julie and I are very familiar with and have had a lot of experience with. So I wanted to ask you just one more question about that, because it's such an important area. And yet, as you know, in this country, healthcare is a very troubled industry, one in which, a lot of people have great difficulty getting care. There's a lot of innovation, potential innovation around profitability, corporations, consolidation. And I wanted to know, will the forum be addressing any of that?
We'll touch on all the above. And the big thing for us is this university industry collaboration, commercialization, testing of concepts, validation of value propositions. This is a huge focus right now. And so we'll be, particularly in life sciences, but in other sectors, really focused on this transition and commercialization of the ideas into actual tech transfer and actual commercialization.
And that's the exciting space. Scott's group really, all of Scott's touch points really do create not just a bridge, but like I had said earlier in the introduction, a meaningful bridge. I mean, really that intersection between academia and business, true innovation at its core. I was fortunate enough to attend the healthcare summit that's upcoming in November, a couple years back. And I don't really have much to do with healthcare, other than I kind of have a little bit to do with every industry, because as a career counselor, I kind of get a bird's eye view of what's happening at the cutting edge of every industry every day. And at the time, I was just beginning to see college degrees with some kind of healthcare analytics coursework. I was starting to see job titles that related to data analytics applied to healthcare, not just in the patient record keeping, and software development, but in the actual direction of practice. I was just starting to see this. And I go to Scott's Healthcare Summit, and the panelists were outstanding. There were epidemiologists testing this stuff. It was really putting some of these innovative concepts into practice and reporting to a packed room of thought leaders in healthcare innovation what this really looks like and what these outcomes really are. So if anybody is going to be in Orange County in the November 9th timeframe, please extend or change your trip so that you can attend this event. I have sat in on so many university lectures just for my own edification. I've sat in on so many professional panels and groups, and this healthcare summit and many of his kind of quarterly summits are worth the effort. Unfortunately, I missed the HR summit last month by one day. I had to get back from Camp Pendleton to California. And one last thing on before I hand the mic back over to you, Scott. I work with a tremendous candidate. I have helped coach him along his career path the last 6 or 7 years. He came from the beverage industry as a kind of marketing hotshot and relocated to Southern California and was pretty burnt out, wanted to switch industries. He kind of found a lull at an early age because he had come real far and he needed a paycheck. And I said, well, hey, if you want a paycheck within a month, move into healthcare, move into science. And he said, science? Why would I move into science? I don't have a scientific background. I said, no, but you have marketing strength and the demand is so high. So he ended up moving into healthcare actually. And long story, very short, he has designed the global marketing programs for health, COVID response protocols, programs, and capital medical equipment. So he has been at the bleeding edge of this emerging precision medicine thing and wants to move directly into it. So I am going to direct him to come and see your presentation, your panel on the 9th of November. And I'm going to have him introduce himself to you and see if maybe you could make some introductions for him. He is a wonderful candidate for that industry. And anyone who's listening who wants to get into the cutting edge of where an industry is really having some significant transformation, Scott's groups and groups like these are exactly where you can meet the thought leaders who are doing the hiring, who are creating the programs and the applications and the software solutions that will become everyday practice 2 to 5 years from now. So this is where you need to be building those relationships. So again, thank you for putting this together, Scott.
Okay, we'll be back in just a minute.
If you need help advancing your career path, you're already in your line of work, but you need to step up to that leadership position, please reach out to Joel Siegel, joelsiegelphd.com. An executive coaching series with Joel will get you to that next level in your career path where you can be more presidential, have that leadership mindset, have the communication strategies to gain more respect in a meeting and have more impact across your organization with your peers, your superiors, and those beneath you. Whether you're looking to promote yourself internally or you're looking to leverage your experience into a new role in a new company, Joel Siegel is worth the time to spend 4 or 5 or 6 sessions getting your footing to move from that I'm a senior manager moving into director level, or director, I'm ready to go up to that VP level. He can help you get there. And for those smaller organizations looking for succession planning and business strategy and getting the most productivity out of your team, again, the executive coaching that Joel provides is really unmatchable. I've been referring clients to you, Joel, for well over a decade, and I've never, ever regretted it. joelsiegelphd.com.
Okay, let's get back to the show. Scott, I know you just completed the Reinventing HR, and that obviously is a huge space. Would you like to speak a little bit about some of the outcomes of that program you just completed?
Yeah, I'll tell you, before we go further, and thanks to Julie for inviting people, because that's exactly what we look for, people that want to come in and learn and connect and, make these kind of connections that are going to be significant value. We're not really a networking group, as you know. We're not networking. It's right. We have a clearly defined purpose and objectives. And the reInvent Summit, Joel, brought together 150 of the top organizations in the Southern California, the leaders of those. So we had CHROs, top HR, C-suite people that really looked at what's coming. And we had, again, this convergence of all the communities. So we had the Dean Ian Williamson, who's the Dean of the Business School here at UCI Mirage, speak on talent pipelines, and just did a tremendous presentation. Again, these presentations are fast. They're 8 minutes each, faster than a TED Talk, but even more content jammed in, and then the audience gets involved. So again, we heard perspectives about what's coming. And it's pretty fascinating. There'll be a kind of a summary reel of that coming out soon, and we'll announce that. And if I haven't already said this, the easiest way to find us is just Google just Google the term executive next practice, executive next practices, and it'll pop up all of our websites. And so again, we'd look forward to anybody joining us here at these next few sessions.
And Scott, I believe people can Zoom into some of these events, can't they?
They can. The evening events, we typically require people to be there in person because it's just difficult to watch those at night.
Yeah.
So the one on the 9th will be an in-person session. It'll be recorded, but it's, again, the value is really being there in person because there is time to connect with people before and after the session itself.
The thing, Scott, that I think is so unusual about you, I do a lot, very well connected here, do a lot of networking, but what you do and what your organization has done has focused on innovation transfer. And that really is a very specialized area that really a lot of networkers don't even know about or even do. So it's remarkable that you're able to do that effectively. And I want to commend you for that, because that's where the real growth and development of an industry is.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning that. My next meeting in about 45 minutes is with Errol Arflenick. It's Errol Arflenick. He is our executive director here at UC Beall Applied Innovation. And the subject of our conversation is that, continuing to expand how we connect enterprise with academia for examining market potential and commercial pathways for the concepts coming out of UCI, and also being able to judge what the economic impact is of those startups in terms of potential for job creation and revenues within California and beyond. So that kind of measurement. Got to remember, startups really need that kind of pushback if their value proposition is there, if their research is going the right direction. They need that early and often. So that's the connection we're trying to make here.
Tell us a little bit about how ENP works with startups and helps develop startups and incubates them, and how the relationship between your group and startups is.
Yeah, that's great. And we're fortunate because we do, as Julie knows, we have some infrastructure right here in UCI Beall Applied Innovation. There's a program called Wayfinder, which actually will accept startups and provide them our resources, which are the corporate executives, along with startup experts, connect them with SBDC and other entities that over a period of roughly 36 months can take them through the process of validating their value proposition, getting the pitch decks ready, getting the early seed stage going. And as Julie knows, we have a venture fund here at UCI called the Cove Fund. It's on its third round. This third round is about 50 million or more, and it will invest in approximately 65 companies over the next 4 years. And about 60% of those companies will be generated from UCI research. So we're actually putting our dollars where our mouths are in terms of actually providing the seed money for these startups.
And are you taking investors on that from outside your ecosystem?
Well, this particular fund is full, but there'll be another one. So yes, we're always looking for investors, accredited investors that want to come into these funds.
That's just really incredible. Do you want to speak a little bit about the Nextwork strategy and how that group is a little bit different? And are you working there with more mature companies? And what are you doing in that context?
Yeah, you really nailed it, Joel. It is really more mature companies and entities. For example, we work with the city of Irvine in their strategic planning, and that's 1,900 employees, roughly, that city of Irvine has. Very, very innovative city, by the way. And then others like that I can talk about would be like Printronics. That's an $80 million company that went through a huge pivot with the transition printing has gone through. They do a lot of RFID now. Larger companies like Golden State Foods, which is an enormous $6 billion provider to 220 retail food outlets like McDonald's. So working with them internally with their teams has been a huge part of this. Keep in mind, here's the issue right now. Julie knows this. I said this to open our recent forum, and that is, if you're looking for the next normal, it's never going to happen again because the speed of change is nonlinear, it's accelerating, and it's ambiguous. So if you're expecting to find some kind of safe haven or steady ground as we go forward in the next few years. It's just not going to happen. We're always going to be in this constant turmoil. So the best you can do is control what you can do in terms of your own organization, your own markets, your own value proposition, your own people, and stay steady that way.
Unfortunately, a lot of business leaders that I work with don't really get that. They feel that a homeostatic stability is what they look for, and they don't understand that the unending change that you just alluded to, which you're so accurate about, is really something that they have trouble grasping. And I think that's why they're always two steps behind instead of two steps in front of these changes.
Yeah, it really is this ability to remain, build your model, your business model, so it is adaptive, so it is nimble, so you can make pivots when you can. Knowing that, and also this, the other mistake they make is this quote unquote untouchable capital or structural capital, which is completely wrong. There are going to be times when you have to dig into your core business and change some things, things you've long invested in, you have to move away from.
Right. In next work strategies that you were describing, working with cities like Irvine, et cetera, what exactly do you do? Do you bring in a team of consultants who work with executives from those groups? How does the work actually develop?
Well, we're actually teaching the clients how to fish. So we don't bring in huge teams of people. Well, what we do is take them through some exercises, which is designed to have them look outside themselves, outside their existing entity and within themselves, to examine what they're doing today, what they can eliminate, first of all. What kind of legacy behaviors, policies, practices have they had they can eliminate that won't impact them? And that has this kind of frees the tension in the organization, if you will. Think about this. And Julie, we've talked about this. People have had 24 months or more during COVID to kind of be by themselves in many cases and think through their own relationship with the company, but also relationship with customers and relationship with work. So they're primed to tell you what no longer makes any sense. That report they used to have to do, that meeting they used to have, that exercise they had to go through with the customer, or making basic purchases within the company, they can tell you what isn't needed anymore. And they can start to offload and just start eliminating things. To some degree, people have already done this naturally, right? They just stopped writing reports or showing up for meetings that didn't make any sense anymore when they were in a remote setting. And so we've gained some efficiency and productivity that way. This is a process. We take them through a process of saying, all right, let's define that. Let's make an intentional and deliberate move toward changing our policies and practices to what's next for our organization.
And who are the we, Scott, who do this work that you're referring to?
That's usually the leadership team, along with a cascade across the organization at all levels of the organization, get them involved in this process of, again, eliminating what's not working anymore, and then creating what will take them forward in the future.
Ironically, COVID created the environment for the innovation that you're describing. It opened up, as you're just saying, the door to a lot of these companies who were very rigidified, being finally able to look at some of the things that you're offering.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And you know what's, we're hearing, you've already heard the story, and we're seeing it live, and that is the people that want to see their people back in the office. And we know of some companies that said, okay, we're going to come back in the office 1 day a week. And they tried that for 3 weeks and discontinued it. It just wasn't effective. And so now they're getting to more of a flexible schedules, which are meetings on demand when they're absolutely needed and have an absolute value to them. And then also structuring work in a way that makes more sense to today's climate. That's not true of everybody. In many cases, it's just not essential.
What I really, really admire about you is that the work that you do at large is not your everyday management consulting or your everyday executive coaching. It really, truly is creating innovation at every layer of the workforce that you touch. What you're describing doing in your consulting side is really creating, opening up the company to create a stage for innovation where efficiency or productivity or profitability are just simply a byproduct. Usually, if a management consultant goes in, they focus on efficiency or productivity or profitability. You're not doing that. You're looking at it very, very differently. And I've always thought, like I said earlier in the intro, I've always been just kind of a fan from, afar. I would love to be in your brain for just like one night. I wonder what you think about. What you do is truly innovative. Everybody tosses that word around and it's become kind of a pedestrian word, kind of like saying, oh, what you do is amazing. We just kind of habitually fall into using vernacular, but you truly walk that walk. And if anybody wants to learn what innovation practices are or what innovation thinking is, there are some thought leaders in it, but we are very, very blessed to have Scott Hamilton here today to illuminate all the different ways that he is creating ecosystems of innovation throughout communities. So thank you for sharing with us. It's just fascinating to me.
Yeah, and Julie, thanks again for your time today. Appreciate the ability to come on, and this has been a delight working with you and talking with you. And again, we're looking forward to working with you as we continue to build these bridges between the different ecosystems. I mean, we've got Phoenix, Orange County, but even beyond that, as you know, I was just looking at the Cornell. Cornell has a fantastic system. MIT does. Globally, you've got Paris has their Station F entity. So there are so many opportunities out there.
There are. And I have to make a quick plug, Joel, and then I'll hand it back to you to close. But for anyone listening out there, he's an incredible speaker and presenter. And I plugged him into the West Valley Tech Summit as a keynote speaker, a futurist, if you will. His speaking skills are worth making the trip to watch. If anybody is looking for a keynote or panelist on the topic of innovation or the future of technology, please reach out to Scott Hamilton at Executive Next Practices. It's worth it. He's a good one.
Well, Scott, just having you on the show is, I'm sure, opened a lot of eyes and minds and ears of our listeners and viewers. Again, Executive Next Practices and Next Work Strategy are Scott's organizations. You can tell from this interview that you are really a major thought leader yourself, and what you're doing is so broad-based and so critical that I can't see anyone who wouldn't want to be a part of it at one level or another. So you can get involved with Scott's organization simply by looking at him online. And again, I want to thank you so much. I know you're very busy, for taking some time to come on. I hope to see you again soon. I'll be in Orange County. I'll try to check in with you because I want to have that conversation.
Please do. I look forward to seeing both of you here, and it's same thing when I'm in Phoenix. Great being with you today. Thank you so much for your time too.
Thanks
so much, Scott. Take care. And we're back. Well, Julie, that was a world-class segment with a world-class guest, and I'm so grateful to you for not only knowing Scott and working with him, but bringing him to our audience.
He has been my inspiration for thinking in the future. My job as a career counselor is to know what's happening, what's on the come, so that I can place my clients in the unraveling and unfolding of frontiers. And Scott thinks the same way, and probably 10 times as better positioned, because he's in that room every day where those thought leaders are. So the content that he delivers really has helped to activate my futuristic thinking and helping me see opportunities for my clients that they would never know. What he's doing is not reported. These are things that happen. You're going to see in action 3 years from now, something that is going to be at the healthcare summit next month.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, he's world class.
It's
and
alchemy.
His organization is world class.
It is alchemy.
It's wonderful to have him with us and to have you bring him on. Okay, well, we're just about out of time today, so we want to thank everyone who's been a part of this morning's podcast. It's really been an exceptional show. We'll be back soon next month with more exciting guests, callers who are dealing with career issues, and all working with America's career counselor, Julie LaCroix, and myself as well. And so great to have the show this morning, Julie. See you soon.
See you soon, Joel.